What's up, everybody? Happy Homebrew Wednesday. Here I am finishing off a little bit of my popcorn ale. I swirl it in my mouth, gets a little fizzy. Tastes good. And you might think, oh shit, he's out. But let me tell you guys. Ain't my first go around, right? Anytime I go down, always got to fill up, especially when you got these nice little Brew at the Zoo mugs. These things are actually pretty nice. They're good, thick glass. They're really set up for cheersing, and they're just like the perfect size. This little thing, the size of it, you can just down it, no time at all. Which makes me remember back in the day. I can't remember if it was OD'd or who did it, but somebody had an IPA chug challenge, and I think we need to get back to that. But we need to do it with some of the new people that are getting into the YouTube community, and somebody who is not in yet, but we need to get in is Dan D from up in Rhode Island. He, in my opinion, incorrectly took he was in like the bottom 3 of the U.S. Northeast SG Port competition. I loved his beer. I think the biggest problem with Dan, and it's not Dan's fault at all, is that people didn't read and find out what his beer was. Once Dan put a comment out there that was like, hey, this is like a BC beer, which to people who don't know is before Christ. Once people factored that in, it was a great beer. Really, really great beer. Excuse me. So Dan's beer, getting back to it, was a BC beer before Christ. So it was an old-ass beer. And I actually had one today, and of course, my phone was dead, and I didn't have it with me to log it into Untappd. I really do that because my memory's going. I forget beers all the time. But if I have Untappd, and I vaguely know the day, I can look back and be like, oh, that's the beer I tried. That was a great beer. So I had a beer today that was a BC beer, and you can kind of tell a BC beer because it has no hops in it. So this one used heather tips for the bittering. It was really freaking good. But when I compare it to Dan's beer had so much more complexity. It was amazing. He actually sent me another one, and I'm kind of aging it. I kind of want it to get to the 6-month mark before I have it. But speaking of what he sent me, check out this picture right here of all the beers he sent me. He hooked me up. You can see Dan hooked me up. I got a ton of beers. I got 2 of his that I'm going to let age just a little bit, just because right now it's the summertime. I'm not really feeling heavy beers, so I want to age them for fall, which I could almost kind of do today. The weather got down to 77 degrees here in Maryland, which is ridiculous. That never happens. But in July, 77 degrees in July in Maryland, it's normally 104 degrees. So you can see my skepticism of how ridiculous it is. It's almost a 30 degree, basically 29 degree, no, 27 degree difference. 28, 27. I've had a few beers. I can't do math very well right now. But one of the beers that Dan sent me was this Spencer Trappist Ale. Friggin' awesome. I had it before I did all this recording, and I gotta say it's gotta have 6.5% alcohol. I hadn't eaten anything all day, just a really busy day. So I'm feeling this beer. I had that beer at lunch, but that's just because I needed something to calm me down. It was one of those days. But yeah, this thing was friggin' awesome. And then he also sent me, did I bring it over? I did not. He sent me a bunch of Cisco Brewers beers. They are Rhode Island or Nantucket beers. I'm horrible at geography. Nantucket could be in Rhode Island. I'm a tax guy. I know numbers. I know numbers very well. I don't know geography very well. But I had those, and those beers are great. I was surprised. He was like, oh, they're just these local breweries. It's nothing to blow your socks off. Anything other than Miller or Coors to me is great. And they had a light lager that, I kid you not, could be my new favorite light lager. I'm a big Yuengling guy. I mean, I have respect for all beers, minus the big 3. But yeah, I love Yuengling, and man, That light lager was freaking amazing. So thank you so much, Dan. I can't thank you enough. I am still hunting. I've got a couple more beers in mind, but I think they don't come out for another month. So I got to get them, but I'm going to get them, and I'm going to shoot them your way, buddy, because you deserve some good beers coming back your way. I was really excited, man, to get your beers. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Speaking of which, Dan watched my prior video about how we were having some trouble with the Growler Challenge, and he was like, you know what, man? Don't worry about it. Check your mail in a couple days. I'll fix it. And check out what Dan did. He sent me this badass little growler. It looks like a mini keg. How freaking cool is that, one? Two, it's a 62, 64 ounce, so it's basically your standard keg. It is a tight freaking head. I filled that thing up with water. I shook it all sorts of craziness. Oh, excuse me. Popcorn's got a lot of carbonation. Oh, a lot. I just had some jalapenos from the garden. And oof, they taste good with the popcorn coming up, but they burn as much coming up as they went down. So maybe TMI. I'll probably edit that out. I'm lazy. No, I won't. Getting back to the point. Dan hooked us all up, guys. He sent us this growler. It's freaking awesome. So the Growler Challenge is definitively back on, and I am going to need to be hunting to find some really good, basically really good breweries around here. There's one that just opened. I'm actually going to go on Friday called Blue Jacket, and I'm going to ask them if they'll fill growlers from other places. If not, I don't care. I'll send back his growler filled from somewhere around here and something else, another growler to him, because what Dan did was awesome, guys. The Growler Challenge was possibly dead, and Dan hooked us up and was like, don't worry, I'll buy it, I'll ship it to you, let's just keep this thing alive. And that's what's awesome about the Homebrew Network, and that's what's awesome about the SJ Pour Challenge. You know, a bunch of us brewers are coming together, and we're sharing our love of beer, and just the experience of good craft beer. And it's awesome. It's awesome. I don't have a lot of people in my area that are my age and love beer. And even though some of you guys, are a little bit older, not much, a little bit older, it's still nice to have people that still care about beer the way that I do. And, they love the idea of getting new beer and experiences and doing something cool like the Growler Challenge and, of course, the SJ Pour Challenge, which is fucking awesome. Let's be real. It's awesome. Let's get a little dark in here. Let me see if I can lighten it up. Ooh, that's too much light. I am not ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille. That is an old reference. Bazinga. But yeah, awesome. Can't say thanks to Dan enough. I'm super excited. I am going to... So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go to a brand new, Pinto, a small S brew. This guy does 15 gallons at a time. Micro small brewery. I'm going to go to him tomorrow night. I'm going to see if he will fill this growler. If he will not, I will fill my own. But because this is a 62 ounce rather than that, I think my other one was a 32 ounce, I think we shouldn't have a problem at all sending it. So, Wally Fleck, I'm going to send you a PM, my man, on Facebook and let you know. You are either going to get this thing, I'm either going to ship it out Wednesday, tomorrow, or I'm going to wait a week and ship it out, or not a week, just a couple more days, and ship it out on a Monday. My goal is so that this thing doesn't have to sit over a weekend in a post office somewhere. But I'm going to ship it to you, Wally, and then from there, my man, you are going to ship it to Nate, and then Nate's going to do a bunch of people, and then from there, no need to keep going, but it's going to keep traveling and traveling and traveling. So if you haven't seen this, or if you're just now hearing about the Growler Challenge and you want to get in it, get in on it. It's going to be a blast. We're going to be shipping this thing around, videotaping its journey. It's going to be a blast. I'll do more details about it and keep going. And if you guys who are in it have any ideas of what we should do, send me a PM, comment below. There's no bad ideas. We're sharing beer. It's going to be a blast. So I'm going to get back to drinking, and I got to transfer over a IPA that I keep forgetting to transfer over into secondary and dry hopping just because I'm tired and lazy. But got stuff to do. But yeah, Dan, cannot thank you enough. The beer mail, the freaking Growler Challenge. You are the man. I'm going to hook you up big time, buddy. Big time. I promise. Well, that's it, guys. just remember, life's too short for shitty beers, and anytime you want, come on down to Belcher Brewery, where belching and good beers are always welcome. Peace, guys. Happy Homebrew Wednesday.